Hello, this is going to be a quick video regarding the application to the Malta Foundation Programme. If I get something wrong or maybe have some additional questions or want a bit more clarification on something, then please check the comments or message in the comments and we'll get to that and try and help out. This video is more from a perspective of EU medical graduates. So if you're from a non-EU university, then still by all means ask questions, we'll try and help. But this video just might not be as helpful as you may hope. Okay, so the Malta Foundation Programme. Let's give you a bit of information about it. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, this is actually the old Malta Foundation Programme website, but some of the information on it is quite nice, especially because the application process has pretty much remained unchanged for a while now. So a lot of the information here does give a bit of insight onto the foundation programme. But if you ever ask them, then they're going to tell you it's out of date. And there are things that are out of date here, so just be aware of that. So the Malta Foundation Programme. What is important and one of the great reasons why people apply is that it is an affiliated programme to the UK Foundation Programme. This means that the Malta Foundation Programme is the same as the UK Foundation Programme. Its operations are based on the same reference guide and offers the same curriculum and educational training opportunities as the official UK Foundation schools. So what that means is that this is a 2-year foundation program, just like for the UK. Now, one of the other big reasons why a lot of people apply to Malta is maybe they aren't eligible for the UK foundation program. One of these reasons, a common reason, is IELTS. For the UK foundation program, you need quite a high score for IELTS or OET, and a lot of people either realize that too late or they really struggle with it. It really is a tough exam. I know a lot of native speakers take that exam many times before they actually get the score required for the UK Foundation Programme. Whereas the Malta Foundation Programme, let me show you exactly, a lot of people are able to apply despite not getting a 7.5. So here if we go onto the newer website, it says it clearly, knowledge of English. So it says here that you need to show a minimum score of 7.5 in each of the categories, which is the same as for the UK Foundation Programme. However, there is also this sentence here at the end, which says, an IELTS certificate is not required if your medical school dean's office confirms that your primary medical qualification, including the language of instruction examinations and a significant amount of clinical contact with patients, has been undertaken in English. Now, to give an example, if you're studying medicine in Poland in the English division, then your entirety of your degree is in English, and therefore anyone who graduates from Poland in the English division only needs a dean's statement to confirm that the English was the primary language of their medical qualification, and that would be sufficient. So therefore they no longer need IELTS. So that's really quite great. On the other hand, there are some degrees which, for example, the first 3 years are in English and the final few years are in the local language. There are none like that in Poland, but there are some in the EU. And for those individuals, they would then need to take IELTS, right? But anyone graduating, for example, from an English division medical school in Poland, they just need that dean's statement. Now, there are some divisions, for example, that are entirely in English, but the first 3 years are in the Middle East, and the final 3 years are in a different country, like in Poland. They're also fine. They just need to have confirmation that it was in English for the first 3 years and for the following years as well. So they might need 2 documents effectively there, but that's fine as well. So here we have last year's timeline for the Malta Foundation Programme. The timeline is pretty much identical every year, so this is just a good rough guide as to what you can expect. Now what you can see is the very first step on the process, which is what we're focusing on today, is the application for the letter of intent. Now the deadline for this every year is going to be around about the end of July, right? But you should expect it to be between mid and end of July, which is the same. It'll be roughly the similar deadline to the deadline for eligibility for the UK Foundation Programme. So it's just something to be aware of, that this is something that you are applying for prior to starting your final year of med school. Right? If you've got a delayed application, then you're delayed. But you should be doing this if you're in a 6-year program, then you should be doing this at the end of your 5th year. So let's go to the official website for the letter of intent, which is kind of gone into detail here. It discusses some of the important information here. It must make sure that your basic medical training shall comprise of a total of at least 5 years of study, which may in addition be expressed with equivalent ECTS credits, and shall consist of at least 5,500 years of theoretical and practical training provided by under supervision of a university. So, from my experience, I know that there are some universities that offer degrees which are actually shorter than 5 years. This may be because they had an undergraduate previously, but at the end of the day, what is important is if that degree is offered in the EU, then it therefore has to be compliant with the EU rules. So they will have the equivalent ECTS credits required and to be accepted in the EU. So it should be fine. So I know people who have had EU degrees which are actually shorter than the 5 years, and it has been accepted without any problems. But what is also very important here is actually this 5,500 hours. You will need to have documentation that shows that your degree is, the total hours of your degree are over 5,500 hours. Okay, another thing of note is that if you have any questions or if you have any doubts or if you're unsure, it's best to just directly contact the Foundation School of Malta. Here is their email, and everyone I have talked to has had very good experiences with them. They're very understanding, they reply pretty quickly, very helpful. So I actually really do recommend reaching out to them if you have any questions or any issues. Really helpful, they're great. Okay, next. So when you have applied for this letter of intent, then you will get the letter of intent, and they've given an example here of what that will look like. Now, this will actually just be an email. I mean, it says it here. This email will be accepted by Malta Foundation School. So you won't have this background. It won't be a PDF. Pretty much once you've sent this application for the letter of intent in, they will email you back confirming that you may be considered eligible. And later on step 2, when you start applying, you can just screenshot the email that they send you or attach it to your application, and that'll be fine. So don't go looking for a PDF. This letter of intent will actually just be an email which you will receive. Okay, so for the application for the Medical Council of Malta, there are 2 things that you have to do now. First off, you need to fill out the application for a letter of intent. The second thing is you need a detailed transcript of the total course content per year and per number of years per subject module. And then all of those 2 things get sent to this email. So let's have a look at the first one. The application for the letter of intent. This is super simple. You just fill it out yourself. You don't need the university's help. So let's start. This first one, you leave blank. They filled that out. Just leave it blank. Next, name, surname, date of birth, passport, nationality. These should be pretty easy for you. Nationality, obviously, if you have more than one, then just list all of them. Email address, residential addresses. Just write down where you've lived for the last 5 years. University, write your university, and then here you have medical school and faculty. So this might not be applicable to you. Just to explain it very quickly, sometimes you'll have made up city university, and then that will have a medical faculty. So you'll have the medical faculty of made up city university. Whereas in other universities, it might be strictly only a medical universities, and it would be called made up city medical university. So then you won't have to fill this thing. Next, address of campus. That can just be a dean's office address. Your course title, you probably should know what that is. If you're not sure, then you can ask your dean's office. It might be MD, MBBS, something like that. Dates and start of end of course. Now, you might not have the exact date, for example, for the end of course, because it's not been announced yet, but you probably will know the month, in which case just put the first of the month and you should be fine there. Okay, duration of course in years, duration of course in hours. Remember, this should be over 5,500. If it's not, then you've made a mistake probably somewhere. And next, supervised by university, campus within the EU, yeah, go tick tick, signature, date, done. It's finished, easy. The more difficult bit for some people is this transcript. Basically what you need to do is email your university requesting a transcript of the total course content per year and the number of hours per subject module. If you request a transcript from your university, they will know what they need to give you. It's a really standard document, so you don't need to do too much explanation. We will have a template email, I think, in the description just to make your life easier. Sometimes I get questions regarding should this transcript be stamped and signed. A transcript is an official document from the university, so you should have some sort of signature and stamp from your university, yes. Because some people might be applying, for example, in their final year, or your penultimate year. Therefore, you haven't completed your whole studies, and therefore your total number of hours isn't over 5,500 yet. You should be fine, but in my case, what I did was I also sent them a copy of the curriculum overview, which shows a total hours of the course, just to kind of check on that. But I believe that isn't actually required, because here it says that in those cases where the transcript neither provides the number of hours undertaken, nor provides the hours of the last year of the course, a letter from the dean or university clearly stating the total number of hours carried out is to be submitted. So if it doesn't say anything about your hours, then you need to have something signed by the deans that clearly shows the situation. Okay, you want to apply for the transcript from your university as soon as possible. I have heard of universities taking even months sometimes to be able to give that, but some of them are able to do it in the course of even just a couple of days. So you want to apply for this as soon as possible so that you get it in time and you can send off the application for the letter of intent in time. You sent the 2 documents. Now what is super important is you should receive an auto reply confirming that they received your email within 2 working days. I'm not talking about the reply saying that they've confirmed your letter of intent. I'm talking about one that simply says that they confirmed that they received your email and received your application. I have had known situations where someone sent everything on time, but for some reason technology failed them and Malta didn't receive it. And no one did anything wrong. Like I said, this is just failure of technology. But unfortunately, they were not able to continue their application to Malta because of that. So just make sure that that comes through. And if it doesn't come through, then follow up, contact Malta Foundation Programme. If you do it ASAP, then hopefully it should be fixed. Then pretty soon afterwards, you should get your letter of intent. Now, somewhere on the website, it says that you should apply for the letter of intent as soon as possible. I have heard of a scenario where someone applied for it, in December, so it was super early, and they didn't get any response, any replies, emailing a lot, until around about May time. So if you sent it before May, I would say don't stress too much, because it looks like they kind of start looking at these around about May time, May, June. So you may not get a response till then. There is a Facebook group which we will link down below, which is worth joining. So at least everyone can kind of help each other out with the application process. Another thing of note, if we go back to our timeline, you can see that around about November time, you will have to go for the SJCT exam and for the interview. these will take place in Malta. So what I want you to be aware of is you need to make sure that your visa or your temporary residency card situation is still valid or is valid for you to be able to travel to Malta in November. I know there was a lot of students who did not have a valid temporary residency card, and so they were unable to leave Poland in order to take this exam, and as a result they had to withdraw their application. So if you're in that scenario, you should start looking at it as soon as possible to make sure that you're not going to have any issues. Okay, so I think that is everything for the step 1 in the process of applying to the Malta Foundation Programme. It's pretty simple, and the next step will be around about September time, and hopefully we'll be able to help with that also. You'll be able to find all the links that we discussed in the description, and if you want access to this calendar, which will be continually updated as the new dates are announced, then you can also fill out the form in the description and we'll give you access to it, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you too. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful. Please comment if you have any questions, and subscribe if you found this useful and you want to see the next video. Thank you very much.